Right.
Yes, we are.
Okay, just want to make sure. Well, I was going to give a long intro for Gordon. I know most people already know what his accomplishments are. He knows what his accomplishments are. So he just wanted me to say that he's been doing this for 60 years, which is pretty good. So after 60 years of playing ham radio, here is Gordo. Gordon West,
All right,
WB6NOA.
well,
Yeah.
thanks, Rob, and hi to the Atlanta Radio Club, and welcome to a wild Thursday. And I know many are probably watching 2 TV screens at once. Mine's going to be audio, so you won't have to be watching me. And tonight we're going to talk about emergency communications. And I know many of you, if you got your uniform ready, you've got your patches on for the ARRL service. Those that have completed the league's new amateur radio emergency service, you'll find that it is really a powerful way to learn a lot of great information. And some of you, I think, are with the American Red Cross, and they provide great communications. Some of you are with your city's emergency group, and that's great. And boy, you've got patches galore, and you're ready for almost anything. But as you're going to hear on these audio outtakes, being a great emergency communicator is not having passed the ISS 100, 700, 400, 800, and all of the other FEMA courses, but being a good emergency communicator is being able to state your traffic and make sure it's clear, somewhat unemotional, as these operators were doing on the 2-meter band on an island 26 miles across the sea here in Southern California.
6 MSI, Tango Shelter Delta. Fire is spreading over to Country Club Drive rapidly. 5 homes are in immediate danger. We need evacuation now of these homes. Copy that. Be advised that the Sheriff's Dispatch is activating the CERT team at this time for the evacuations, and the water company has been notified. Also Public Works.
Ah, did you hear that? The response from the net control operator was that CERT, Community Emergency Response Team operators, would also be working with us. So we encourage all of you with the Atlanta Radio Club to embrace the CERT organization. I know many of these CERT folks running around with their little FRS radios or wannabe hams. This is good. We need to turn them into ham operators. But they have capabilities on a local level up to a block or so. But during evacuations, you may find that your ham club working with a local CERT group can help get these folks to safety. And now listen to...
Break. 4 homes on Country Club engulfed in flames. We require further resources, and we still have no water pressure at this time. Carroll County Fire copy. Resources from the original fire ground are being redeployed to those areas. Helicopters are incoming to make water drops on those structures.
So out here in Southern California, a lot of our emergency communicators also have an aeronautical AM radio. But did you know that many ham radio 2-meter 440 radios, like the popular Yaesu FT60 and many others, tune down into the aeronautical band? So it's good training to be able to hear the live calls coming down from the helicopters. Well, let's go over to high frequency and take a listen to how the hams are handling when Katrina comes ashore and devastates the area. A little tongue-in-cheek, this ham sounded a little bit stressed, didn't he? Take a listen to this.
We had about 3 inches of rain since last night. About 3 inches of rain since last night. We don't have any electricity. The whole block is out. And the winds, I'm estimating, we're gusting up over 50. We have broken branches lying around. And I wanted to say I'm at 29, my position.
Wow. The wind gusting to 50, the wind gusting to 50 miles an hour, that will certainly get the attention of the net control operator. And by the way, those operating portable, anytime the wind is blowing, be sure and put your back to the wind, because wind noise coming over the speaker mic headset or the wind coming over the little mic opening on your handheld just sounds like a constant rush and could very easily obscure your communications. Well, when the hurricane came ashore, Slidell was really in the crosshairs.
Okay, I'm getting a report from Alpha Delta 5, Delta Papa, that the National Weather Service in Slidell has lost all HF radio operations. Over.
Well, they lost their HF communications, but you know, the hams were there. The hams came in, but they were like on 4.3 megs and 6.9. Many ham radio operators are members of Mars or Civil Air Patrol or U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary and have that capabilities in their radio unlocked already. So many times ham operators can, with the proper training and the right agreements ahead of time, work on some of these NTIA frequencies under the auspices of the National Weather Service. Well, as Katrina came ashore, the voices got a little bit more tense from some of these operators. I mean,
Roger, because he's losing trees, trees going down at this time. Over.
Losing trees is not good. Well, that next morning, everybody thought that, well, New Orleans was spared, Slidell got slammed, and the hurricane is in, and everything's going to be okay. But nobody had actually heard from New Orleans until one ham on the 40-meter band came on the air. And when we asked them, how did you survive the hurricane in New Orleans, we were surprised to hear this report.
New Orleans is shut down. New Orleans has got major destruction, and they've got the roof off the Superdome. They've got water in the business district. They've got, you probably know better from the national TV coverage than we do. We have no TV. All we have
is the ham radio operators, and that was enough for many of us to get on the phone and get back to Washington and try and alert authorities that New Orleans was down and out. And of course, the National Hurricane Center on 14325 is always listening.
We are transferring information to the National Hurricane Center, and that helps the forecasters to predict landfall and tracking of the hurricane. Okay, so with that said, are there any stations on the southwest coast of Florida that have hurricane-strength winds?
And of course, there were plenty. Well, when we go back to the 2-meter band, carrying a handheld in this city, you hear a lot of this in the background. But little did we know we would hear this from that same operator who evidently was so traumatized by what he was seeing, he just held his mic open until he could come up with this word.
The World Trade said that tower number 1 is on fire. The whole outside of the building was just a huge explosion. We have a number of floors on fire. It looked like the plane was aiming towards the building. Transmitted third alarm. We'll have the staging area at Vesey and West Street. Have the third alarm assignment go into that area. Second alarm assignment report to the building, okay? All right.
Wow. The Twin Towers. Ham radio played a very important part because public safety communications on one of the towers came down. And the ham radio operators at the American Red Cross right across the river were quite busy. And area hams were reporting which way the wind was going, which way the smoke was, and whether or not there were survivors. And let's see, am I still on the air? I saw a screen come up here.
You're still on.
Oh, okay. Very good. I saw a new screen come up. All right.
Someone
Thanks so much.
someone is sharing their screen. It's
Oh, okay.
KM4RXM.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you can share or not. Doesn't really make a difference because they're tired of seeing my my smiling face. You know, Washington D.C. Has its share of these guys that out in California are very common: earthquakes.
Horizontal motion lasted approximately 10 to 15 seconds. Very light. Over.
Well, he sounded pretty calm after Washington, D.C. gets its own earthquake. Well, take a listen to this earthquake traffic out here in Los Angeles, and you'll see how important repeaters are, and good for our repeater trustees for keeping these stations on the air, and those building top managers that allow us to put up even more antennas. Very important.
KD6 MVD for a damage report on a freeway. MVD, go ahead with the damage report on freeway.
Ladies, they make great net control operators. So ladies, members of the Atlanta Radio Club, we've got all sorts of future missions for you if you're not already taking over net control.
4 miles north of Benoist on the 405, there's quite a bit of buckling in 2 different places. There's a lot of concrete up, so you got to go through there real slow.
Quake, it's really tough for public safety and your local transportations authority to know what's happening. So we hope that in Atlanta, that you've got a good connection to those authorities and maybe even a ham radio at their EOC. Because listen to this report after an earthquake in Southern California. This will be a test. Let's see if you get it. They're going to give a report, and it's going to be repeated twice, artificially twice. Let's see if you copied what this station is indicating as he's driving early in the morning on a freeway.
Freeway 10, and what section? That will be eastbound and westbound near Washington. The bridges are down.
The what? One more time?
That will be eastbound and westbound near Washington. The bridges are down.
Did you get it? The bridges, these are freeway bridges, are down. When we had the Northridge earthquake out here, hams were the very first to be able to broadcast to the California Highway Patrol that on a major freeway leading by the Southern California Los Angeles airport, major freeway, all the bridges had come down. Wow.
They said that the quake was felt first in Westchester.
This is interesting. Earthquakes don't travel at the speed of light. They travel at the speed of the speed going through ground. And so they're much slower. So here's a ham on 75 meters going, whoa, did you feel that?
It was felt a few seconds later in Thousand Oaks.
A few seconds later. So, wow, if you're on an earthquake fault, you can be like the ham that tells the world, get ready.
The report on from 80 meters, WD6DXM. WD6 HL Segundo. You know what I mean? Okay, the El Segundo station. That's WD6 HL Segundo located next to Westchester. 2 sharp jolts felt east to west. Over.
So that's a good report. And these are reports that a good net control operator will then transfer over to the correct agency. And we encourage all of you at the Atlanta Radio Club that behind your radio operating station, you have a whole list of phone numbers. So if you need to call the state or the local city emergency department or the local county, you've got those phone numbers handy, because in an emergency, you don't want to be fumbling around, hoping to get a right phone call out.
In Long Beach, it lasted several seconds. We had a couple things fall down, and the bird went crazy.
And the bird went crazy. Well, that's okay. Sometimes in an emergency, it's good to have just a little bit of levity or a little positive to keep everybody calm on the air. Because as you know, someone comes in there with a triple break and screaming into the mic, it just raises everybody's apprehension level sky high.
Warren, this is starting from myself here for years. Sort of an east-west, but some vertical motion. There was two peaks, a little bit at first, then a big peak, and then it almost died down, then it hit us harder for the second time.
So I don't know when the last time Atlanta had an earthquake, but that's the kind of traffic we had out here. When Japan had its devastating earthquake several years ago, hams on high frequency immediately broke into a net, the Hawaiian net, and let the net control know that there's the possibility of a tsunami coming a few hours later. Tsunamis travel at the speed of an aircraft, about 300 or 400 miles per hour. So there aren't instant tsunamis. They take some time coming. But listen to this report when the tsunami is hitting Hilo, and one of the hams on high frequency says, uh-oh, there goes the water. Listen right here.
Just an update from the Big Island of Hawaii. It's been reported that the water is receding in Hilo too, on the breakwater, as well as at a couple of the beaches. So I just passed the information along. I'm on the southern end, and that's the report from Hilo, Hawaii, at the net to 86RC.
And there were also hams chiming in saying, tell everybody to get off the beach because, you know, tourists, we got to go down there going, whoa, must be low tide. No, you got about a 30-foot wave ready to come in. Well, luckily it wasn't that heavy in Hawaii. Let's go back to 2 meters, because 2 meters is a radio system that all of us carry in our vehicles and carry on our hips. And listen to this report that just came over the repeater out of nowhere. And yes, here in Southern California, in my radio room, I constantly have digital recorders rolling. So when something breaks squelch, I hear it from the very beginning. Listen to this call, breaking squelch.
Oh my gosh, there's a school bus with kids on it, and it's 50 yards south of Falls Canyon on Avalon Canyon Drive.
Report from ham operators at sea on the number of patients that might be involved. Hector's required. Would you check with our hospital resources and advise them of the number of casualties and be advised?
Well, this particular city and county had a ham station at the hospital. Hams, after hearing that there was major injuries incoming, one of the hams went to the hospital and came up on frequency. And thank goodness, because someone had a medication that one of the injured children needed once they got to the hospital. If they didn't have it there in this very remote hospital, they need to get it incoming. But notice how the phonetic alphabet proves very important, and every ham should know the phonetic alphabet in case you've got to spell something.
We've got need some medication for one of our Jack car victims and want to know if you have 5 milligrams of amaldipine acetylate. I spell.
I would hope you would spell it.
Alpha, Mike, Lima, Oscar, Delta, India, Papa, India, November, Echo. Next word, Bravo, Echo, Sierra, Yankee, Lima, Alpha, Tango, Echo, 5 milligrams.
Whew. Wow. Only thing he could have done beyond that is maybe say the name of that particular drug again. But that was a great report, and it points out the importance of the phonetic alphabet. Well, as the young lady was looking over at the overturned bus, she peered over the side of the hill and, well...
The bus collided with a car that we just discovered halfway down the hill at Falls Canyon and Avalon Canyon. It is overturned on the south side of Avalon Canyon Drive. 2 occupants are trapped. We need the jaws of life. Both occupants are alive but severely injured. W6KLX.
Wow, that was an important call, because the rural fire department, not all of the engines have the jaws of life, but she made sure that they came. Well, here was the hospital radioing back to them this information.
Hospital is near capacity with ER teams still able to take unrelated cases.
So, wow, pretty darn important, the aspects of ham radio. Ham radio knows no bounds. We cover the world. And when the world is in trouble on, I think it was Christmas Day, the hams are ready to help if possible. Listen to
Sri
this.
Lanka reports 31,000 casualties with ocean waters covering all southern and eastern coastlines. The estimate is 800,000 homeless and in need of medical supplies. Ham radio operators needed immediately with high-frequency radios.
So head out to Sri Lanka on that one. Wow, they were devastated. 800,000 homeless. And that was first heard on ham radio. Well, Hurricane Sandy, we know that you had some of the effects of Hurricane Sandy. Listen to this one station casually reporting, yeah, winds are about 135 miles an hour.
The hurricane will reach the coast early on Thursday. Maximum sustained winds are near 135 miles per hour with higher gusts. Some fluctuation in intensity.
Higher gusts than 135 miles per hour. Wow. Those of you on the East Coast, our hats are off to you for surviving Sandy. Well, Hurricane Sandy had also another big threat, and that's not just the wind, but listen to this.
And your storm surge is greater than 6 feet and hard to measure. QSL?
Reporting hurricane winds up to 60, and of course the storm damage from the surge. Wow.
The Coast Guard was sending somebody in there as soon as they could expedite that. Roger?
Now we're back to Katrina, and very important, those of you with a VHF, UHF transceiver with latitude and longitude built into the GPS circuit, in an emergency, it was later learned that the U.S. Coast Guard really worked closely with ham operators that had those step-up radios like the Kenwood D72 and Kenwood D74, terrific radios with built-in GPS. So not only do they have APRS capabilities local, but the helicopters could determine the operator's position by the operator reading their GPS information from their handheld. That'll be a great meeting night some night for the Atlanta Radio Club. That is, have everybody bring their handhelds and read out the GPS position, and that can really help, especially in a situation like this where there was no street address, only GPS.
I want the net to know that the 21 people at Fair Street has been received by the Coast Guard, and they are acting on it. No calls on that one. That is done, Dave.
So it was a rather fast radio operator there, but the important message was the Coast Guard received the latitude and longitude information.
Anybody in New Orleans can report or get some action for these people stuck on the roof. So that was the request from Net Control.
So stuck on a roof, again, it was reading the GPS coordinates on a VHF, UHF handheld that was able to guide these folks to talk to the Coast Guard and get them into position. Now listen to this.
Yeah, if anybody in New Orleans can help these people, is there anybody I can relay? I heard somebody coming out.
So the good net controller is always looking for relays for people that he might not be able to hear. In an emergency, it's not uncommon on ham frequencies that a station without a ham license comes up on the air. Here's a FEMA van giving a message over ham radio.
Yankee 960, was that you? The FEMA van come now, over?
And the net control didn't miss a second by not saying, well, what's your ham call sign and are you authorized? No, he knew it as an emergency, and 97.1, our emergency capabilities indicate that in an emergency, nearly anything goes. Well, what they needed in New Orleans after Katrina, especially also Sandy up on Staten Island.
Tell the crews that come, if they're coming to work on the towers, that they will need generators and fuel for the generators. And basically, they're in essence hitting the beach with no facilities to support them. No facilities support them. Recommend they bring all of their own food and all of their own creature comforts. QSL?
Well, as a ham radio operator, you know all too well when you're on an assignment that creature comforts are sometimes hard to come by. So some of these audios really point out not only the importance of ham radio, but what it's like to be well prepared, to have everything ready coming for the unknown. And with weather conditions, luckily we have great weather forecasting, so we do get 2 or 3 days warning. But an earthquake, you never know, and you've got them there on the East Coast as well. And in the case of a tornado in the Midwest, they pop up out of almost anywhere without a lot of notice. So that is a little play of emergency communications here. And the most important thing is it's not all the patches you've got. It's not all the training that we did. It's not becoming a member of the Amateur Radio Emergency Service, which is very important, with great training offered by the American Radio Relay League under the new ARRS program that they're rolling. So I'd like to hear your comments about being prepared for an emergency or any questions that you might have. So Rob, I'll turn it back to you and I'll listen as best I can to any questions. Be sure and press your space bar unless you're on an iPad, and then unmute yourself, and I'll be happy to answer them for about the next 10 minutes the best I can. So Atlanta Radio Club, your turn.
Thanks, Gordon. That was very inspiring. I think you've generated generated interest in EMCOMM, probably from some people who weren't exposed to it before. So thanks for that. And
yeah, it's just amazing. You think, well, I've got all this training, I'm ready for anything, but after any event, even a practice event, I discover stuff that I should have put in my grab and go bag, stuff I didn't need and I'll never need, and why lug it down. But I always learn something taking part in any exercise, and I really learn a lot on any real emergency.
yeah, good thing about being program director, I guess I get the first question. In two questions. In LA, the woman who was reporting the school bus, who did she call? Was there a net going? Was there already, something happening that she was able to contact?
That was through the Catalina Island repeater. Catalina is an island that is 26 miles off of the Southern California coast. It has a repeater up about 2,200 feet and reaches all of the West Coast from Ventura to San Diego. Very, very good coverage. And we regularly monitor that repeater, and it just happened to come up that she had the emergency. She came in with a customary break, and a triple break rather than a single break to get into a conversation, or a double break for a non-injury accident. But the triple break always has the highest priority. And luckily I had my recording machine right there and I punched record. So it was just on an open repeater. So it always points out that it's great to have good net controllers, not necessarily on duty, but always right there, ready to handle that emergency.
That makes sense. I want to take advantage of the fact that you're such a great teacher here and ask, because we can find this out. I'd rather hear it from you. If people are interested and they say, okay, I want to learn more about EMCOMM, or I want to get more involved in EMCOMM, in the club, because we don't do a lot of EMCOMM liaison work with the club. We started to, but it didn't go. What would they do? How would somebody start getting into it? Should they read something, or what do you suggest?
The American Radio Relay League about 4 years ago realized that they had thousands of members that carried the ARRS ID card that had different types of training, of which none of the training was really standardized. So, about 4 years ago, the American Radio Relay League began an aggressive program, hired extra staff to begin this program, and now has matured the program at state levels and county levels where ARRL representatives as emergency communicators, and you'll see them listed if you go to the ARRL site under emergency communicators. You want to go to the EC for your particular county or city, and they will then give you, I think, all of the starting points. But you can go to the ARRL.org site and look under emergency communications. And the first thing is to take the introduction to emergency, which is course EC001, and come up with the basic training, and then the national training through the incident command system. And from there, the league will actually have study materials. All of these are free other than the printed book. And it's a great way to hone skills on emergency preparedness for things as minor as a traffic accident blocking a freeway there in Atlanta. And of course, your freeways are your lifelines for traffic in and out. And so the league, I think, would be the very first point to start out your look for becoming more tuned into the capabilities of emergency, which in our part 97.1 rules, that's right there as the purpose of ham radio is to foster emergency communications whenever needed.
That's great. Thank you. Yeah, we'll figure out a way to get the information out to everybody and point them to the EC. Okay, I'm turning this over to anybody else who has any questions. It doesn't matter whether you think the question is easy or you think everybody else knows except for you. Chances are they don't. Chances are if you got questions, other people have the same question. So please go for it. Let's go for it and let's see if you can stump stump Gordo here. So anybody speak up.
Oh, by the way, a question I usually get is, how can I get a copy of some of these emergency calls that you heard tonight? If you go to the website of the publisher that publishes my tech, general, extra, and commercial books, w5yi.org, and go to the next page down and you'll see a list of items. They have one, it's called download audio. And the download audio are 1 hour for tech for 2 meters 440 work, 1 hour for general class, all about high frequency and all of the sounds behind HF, including emergencies, and a more technical one for extra class, and they're absolutely free. w5yi.org, and then go down the left-hand column and it says download, and then you'll have many of these same calls that you've heard here. Plus you'll hear my narration for new hams for tech on what a great hobby and what a wonderful service ham radio is.
That's great. That's great. Okay, somebody ask something. I know everybody has questions.
Gordon,
can you hear me?
I sure do.
So let's say I was a new ham who had no initials. I'm not part of Aries or anything else. How would I practice and prepare for an emergency situation?
Okay. First thing I would do is be a regular on the Atlanta Radio Club net and also other area nets in your area. In other words, be real familiar with your 2 meter and 440 radio, or maybe just a 2 meter. And be prepared if during training the net says, all right, we'd like everybody to come up on simplex 147.325. And about 1/3 of the net will make it there. The other 2/3 are not familiar with, could be a import handheld from well overseas that just is not real easily programmed from the keypad. So that's your first way to get started, and that is being a regular on the air, not just listening, but actually transmitting and giving signal reports and what's new at your station. That exercises not only you and your ears and your speaking voice, but also your radio equipment to make sure your batteries are not going dead in the middle of a conversation. And once you get to that level, then ARRL.org and type in emergency, and you'll see actually on the line emergency courses or emergency reviews that you can take right there on your computer. So be active. That's the biggest part of emergency comms. I'd rather have a real active emergency communicator than someone that shows up with 15 patches on their forehead and 8 antennas, but don't know how to change to a simplex frequency. Give me that operator that's regularly on the air, and you'll be turned into a great emergency communicator. And you have the voice that will go along with it as well. I think it's Heidi. Is that right? So thank you, Heidi. Good question.
Gordon, this is Arnold. What do you think of some of the VHF and UHF modes, such as DMR, DSTAR, and APRS?
I think they're great for those comms that you would help develop ahead of time. So if you did have emergency traffic and you needed to get it out of Atlanta to an adjacent state, and you know the DSTAR routes or the DMR, this is a great way that you can get on and still have a lot of people hearing the calls, but they're more directed than just trying a local repeater, because most repeaters throughout the country on VHF are just serving that area. On UHF, of course, we have repeaters tied into IRLP and Echolink, but the DMR and the digital mobile radio and the Fusion and the DSTAR, whichever of those piques your interest, that's the one to stick with and see how far out you can get to relay or get a message relayed during an emergency.
Well, thank you for your input.
Yeah, and I think the DMR and DSTAR and Fusion, these are all great experimental ways, but nothing beats good old analog as well. And that's why all of those great handhelds you see, such as Bridgecom, which has really done a fabulous job of pushing their product line. These handhelds can work both digital as well as good old analog. And the Atlanta repeater, do you have the digital, or is it strictly good old analog?
We have several different types. So we have DMR, DSTAR, and analog.
Terrific. That is great.
I've got an unprepared story / picture I could share.
Yes.
Let me see if I can share the screen. Host disabled, participant screen sharing. Okay, I cannot. So basically, there was a winter storm in February of 2014. I was in an apartment. I had stuff in storage and stuff around the house. So basically, I wanted to get on the air to do some communications. So I had a Yagi, but I didn't have anything to put it on. So I had to put on a wine bottle on my desk and basically pointed out the wall to wherever the repeater was. So I can't share the picture with you, but it was entertaining because I had everything I needed except for the big long stick.
And, that's a good thing. And again, similar to what was just asked by the young lady, the great training is to try a Yagi inside an area such as an apartment or an office building that really doesn't have a great shot out. And lo and behold, pointing it out, a glass window may offer 8 to 10 dB loss versus going through cinder block that will not impede the signal hardly at all. The glass, of course, is coated with a UV filter, and many times that's metallicized so that the radio waves have a hard time getting out. Strange, you stand in front of a big plate glass window in an apartment, think, oh, there we go, and that's good. It looks like the elk antenna. That's good. I noticed that the wine bottle is only 2/3 full.
This was around Valentine's Day, so I haven't.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't drinking and transmitting, Gordon. I wouldn't do that to you.
But that's great. Now, the only thing I would worry about is looks like it's horizontal. And, you know, after a signal leaves a small enclosure, you don't know which way it is. But you may find that the repeater being vertical would probably hear it better. But, you know, I like that. That looks great.
Okay, come on. I know. Everybody, you're usually so talkative. More questions. I can hear you breathing. Actually, I can't because you're muted, but I think I can.
I don't have a question, but I have a recommendation. The Coast Guard puts out, they have a handbook. It's called Radio Telephone Handbook of Tactics, Techniques, and Procedures. And this is an excellent guide for learning how to talk. If you get the opportunity, try to listen to a shares communications where they go back and forth. Mars also does this, but this is a good way to get an idea of how they carry on. This document has pro words. Of course, the phonetics are part of that, but this is I'm trying to think of the best way to say it. It's kind of like the phonetics of how to talk and how to speak on the radio. And it can give you some good ideas about how to carry on in emergency communications. One of the things that I noticed about much of the communications that Gordon pointed out is most of those guys were basically very calm and weren't overly excited. And that's one of the important things to remember is try to bring yourself down if you get into that sort of thing and talk distinctly and slowly and try to convey it as calmly as possible. But if you want a copy of this, just send me an email and I'll send it to you. At the very least, you ought to look it over. It gives you an idea. This is a very formal way of doing it. And this isn't really used this way in ARRS communications, but it is used by shares and Mars. And after I read over this, I can understand why they do it this way. And if you read into it, I think you will as well. I don't know how many of you know Mike Crow. He is a shares operator. And I had the opportunity at GEMA one time to watch him operate. And I was very fascinated by how slowly they talked with each other. And they had their act together. And it all came from much of how this book, it's not really a book, it's a PDF of about 54 pages, but it has pro words and the standards for how to communicate with each other. And
David, what is it called again?
It is the Radio Telephone Handbook, Tactics, Techniques, and Procedures. It's put out by the United States Coast Guard.
And if you Google U.S. or United States Coast Guard Auxiliary, I'm a fellow auxiliarist that teaches radio. This is a wonderful book. I have one that is similar to it, but you bring up an excellent point. Those Coast Guard operators, not only on NTIA, non-ham channels just above 2 meters and below 2 meters, as well as NTIA HF channels, single sideband, Olivia, and many of the other digital modes. There we learn from real experts. And the Coast Guard is always there looking for more help with more radio operators. So thank you for talking about that book. I do have I think a reasonable facsimile copy, and they also now have a video DVD that accompanies that book that shows the proper way to hold the microphone and so on. And all of that is great training for us as ham operators as well. Good
Yeah,
point.
I'm gonna
Thank
have to
you.
get a copy of that. Grant Register is the emergency coordinator for North Fulton. If you want his contact information, just send me an email to my call sign ag4zr@arrl.net, and I'll send the information to you, and you can contact him if you want to do that.
All
And
right, AG4ZR. And notice I'm writing it down. How many times have you met a ham on the air and they said, well, hang on a minute, I got to get something to write with. No, as an emergency communicator, you got to be ready to write instantly. So Alpha Golf 4 Zulu Romeo, I will send you an email probably first thing in the morning.
all right, very good. That's
For
Hey,
it
those
for
who don't
me.
know,
Thanks, David. Go
Hey,
ahead.
Gordo, quick thank you from me. I have a certificate, one of many you've sent out to hams all over the world, probably, when they used one of your training manuals years ago. And as I was coming up from novice to extra, I took, I think that I did advanced class maybe with you. And I've got this certificate that you sent out. And you've always been really good with your fans, your fan base, I'll call them, and just doing little things like that. So thanks for all you've done for so many people for just decades. Really appreciate it.
Well, thanks so much. You know, this is the fun part of ham radio. I'm pretty much now just teaching instructors all of the techniques I've learned over the last 40 years teaching these classes. I'm giving away every secret I can, including the blazing pickle. And again, if you go to the W5YI and look at Ham Instructor, it's a free sign up again. And we do the certificates absolutely free of charge for anybody that writes me. And wow, advanced, that was a tough one to teach. Let me tell you, much tougher than extra class. So thanks for the nice comments. We're all in this together.
Unmute here. Just want to say there are a lot of people, right, to own their licenses to you. So I'm going to add that. I'm sure that's why a lot of people are on here now.
Rob, didn't you take a
Good
poll
time.
on Facebook of how many people are hams basically because we use Gordon's stuff? Like it was like 20 or 30 last time I looked.
Yeah, I did, but we didn't get a lot of, we don't normally hear a lot back from Facebook on anything. And yeah, it was about 2/3 of the people who responded said that they used you.
Oh, well, that is great. And again, not as fans, but just fellow hams. We are all in this together. And I learn every time as well when I'm rolling these casts.
Yeah, I want to thank David. Those of you who don't know David, who just spoke, he's the section manager for Georgia for the ARRL. So in my book, he's a local celebrity.
You bet. And David would then be the one that you'd want to go to say, hey, the Atlanta Radio Club is thinking about getting more involved in emergency comms.
We actually have one that's starting back up again. So we
Good.
have the people that are meeting and talking about getting that. So
Terrific.
I sent Heidi his contact information so that as we get more active, that she'll have.
Well, that's great.
To practice with.
And hopefully you won't run into all the emergencies that we played here. And there's actually another half hour I will not bore you with of emergency calls, but everyone is chilling and you feel good after you've taken apart and helped with emergency comms. Well, I've got to actually do a U.S. Coast Guard net in a few more minutes myself out here on the West Coast on a 4 megahertz NTIA channel. So I've got to jump out of here, but to the Atlanta Radio Club, I want to thank all of you and those of you out there in different mediums. Thank you for listening to this. And I'm honored to share this time with you. and in support of our entire ham population throughout the country and throughout the world.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. John, do you want to say anything real fast?
Yeah, thank you, Gordon. It always great to have somebody with your years of ham in the hobby be able to visit with us at the club level and provide such great insights. So thank you again for spending an hour now with us this evening. I know we
You
said half
bet.
an hour, but
Well, thanks so much. And gosh, I hope to see you all live and direct maybe next year when the smoke clears and we all come up for a breath of fresh air.
And I need to know, where can I get a shirt like that?
Last time I wore this was at Dayton before the tornado hit. So this goes with the territory.
Thanks a lot, and you have a good evening. Thank you very much.
All right, 73 all to the Atlanta Radio Club from old Gordo and my wife Susie in 6GLF. Gordo clear, WB6 November Oscar Alpha. Out.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to do some club business in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and I've caught everybody's name, so we're going to go ahead and give away a monthly gift certificate to HRO. Tonight it's for $50. So I think your chances went up a little bit better because we dropped a couple people here in the last 2 minutes. So let me reach down in here and grab out and see who gets the lucky ticket.
See, Gordon can't win. He should have stayed. Hey, Gordon. Anyway.
Yeah. It's already clear.
It's actually KD4 MSR.
Guy, you got to unmute before you say a few words.
Yay!
Okay, we have a winner. Hi.
Well, congratulations.
Well, Rob,
God, how about that?
Well, Rob, thank you for putting together another great program. This is Arnold, KC4ZUA.
Yeah, there are so many good programs out there, and the good thing about, well, I was gonna say the good thing about our pandemic, if there is a good thing, is, you know, since we're doing Zoom now, we can actually talk to people all over the country. Normally, we'd be limited to people in the area. So,
well, maybe we could have, like, you know, 1 or 2 remotes just for old time's sakes once we get back to normal, for a little variety and spice.
Yeah, unfortunately, Bob Heil didn't tell Gordon, hey, you better watch out for them. We have to thank him for that. Go ahead, John. Sorry. Uh-oh, John's.
I think he froze up.
Yeah, I think John's freezing here.
Do we need to declare an emergency? Sorry, it's a Mary's humor. Hey, Aid.
All right. If
there you go.
Am I here?
He's back.
Can you hear me? Okay. And as always, it's the end of the year, so if you haven't had a chance to renew for next year, we'd greatly appreciate the financial support. We're kind of rebuilding our membership rolls a little bit this year coming up. So anything, if you can renew now or over the next month, that'd be great. We're working on a
lost you again.
Well, I'm going to say hi to Harold. I think he's hiding. I see his name. So is that my old buddy from HRO from years gone past? This is RDP. Okay, might be a different Harold.
A program, well, and actually a meeting for next.
Harold is actually Barbara.
Oh, hi, Barbara. Well, we know you too. It's good to see you again. Even if it's just text.
Yeah, well, here I am. Hello. Coming up.
You're looking well.
So thank you. Moving and have moved, and ham radio has been a little less than top priority.
Oh, that's okay. It's always here for you to let off some steam or some extra energy, so no worries.
Thank you.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yep, you're back.
Okay, Spectrum's flaky tonight, so I hope you caught that. If you haven't had a chance to renew your membership, please do so here at the end of the year. We're always looking for the financial support. Aid, do you have any membership updates for us?
A little bit. We've had 3 new renewals. I mean, 3 new and 1 renewal memberships, and here we go. So now we're up to 69 active members. Still less than we should be, less than we used to be, but it's starting to grow again, so that's good. Financially, we're about the same. Our total finances are about a little over 17,000. And we've had a few expenses, the scholarship, ARRL scholarship, and a part for the repeaters. But financials are fairly stable.
All right. I was cutting in and out, so I missed most of that, but I'm sure it was a good report. So thank you. Spectrum's just flaky tonight for me. So I think as far as I know, the repeaters are working other than what Stephen mentioned. So we're good there. I'd like to thank Bill Perkins, KB4KFT. We had a wonderful day in the park a couple weeks ago at
John, maybe just stop your video next time so that maybe you got less bandwidth to worry about.
Brook Run and Dunwoody, and we're gonna, let me try that.
So you thanked Bill Perkins and then you cut out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anyways, I'd like to thank Bill Perkins, KB4KFT. He put together a great day in the park for us a couple weeks.
All right, it looks like it's still breaking up. He was mentioning something about volunteers for upcoming radio support run walk, I think. Aid, do you know any details on it? If not, we can make sure to put it on the website and get you guys some details, or just message the group's reflector and we can get you some information about that.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Is he back or is he gone? I was just saying, it sounded like he was mentioning like a race. I guess it's the annual Thanksgiving road race, and we have radio volunteers. Yep. Sounds like he's back, John.
How about now?
You're in.
Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with the internet tonight, but anyways, where was I?
Brook Run.
Oh, Brook Run. Yeah, I just wanted to thank Bill for what he put together. We had several people show up for our day in the park a couple weeks ago. Weather was a little uncooperative, but we managed to be able to get several hours in playing with radio. So thanks for him for that work. And hopefully on the next one we do coming up, we'll have better weather and more folks show up. So it was a fun time for even newbies to get on the radio and just give it a whirl. So we're going to do more of that stuff coming up as hopefully COVID will cooperate with us. But we can only do what Mother Nature will cooperate with us on. So do we have any other club information anybody needs to pass along? Or?
Well, we have the information, but we have like a solicitation, right? You know, this is your club, guys. So tell us what you guys are interested in, and we can, try to make it happen. We might ask you to help, but that's the only downside. And I'm being paid.
And of course, we have a Sunday nightly net on Sunday at 8 p.m. On 146.0. So join us there. And we usually have quite a few check-ins for that. And like Gordo had talked about, that's a good chance to practice your EMCOMM skills. So please do join us for that also. I think I was trying to say earlier, we're working on December's meeting. We're looking at possibly doing a get together at a restaurant somewhere for a holiday party. So look for details on that over the next 7 days. I don't know what everybody's, we seem to have enough people that have expressed interest in attempting that. So if we do something with the program, we'll try to Zoom it to those of you who might not be able to attend also. We'll see how that goes. But we're going to be announcing our Ham of the Year in December. So hopefully, like I said, if we do a restaurant type meeting, we'll do it there. And if not, we'll do it over Zoom and do the presentations digitally. So we're looking to recognize one or more hams that have done a lot for this club this past year. So stay tuned to see who gets that beautiful trophy and all the prize money and new cars and all that to go with it. So that's about all I have. Any of the other officers have anything?
John, mention the scholarship.
Oh yeah, thank you very much. We sponsor a scholarship every year through the ARRL, and this year the scholarship went to I don't have the name in front of me. Went to a teenager in Decatur who's off to college. I'm trying to hook up with him to get some information so that we can run an article in our newsletter about it, and we'll post it on the website also. So your generous donations and your membership fees and all the other monies that we get from you over the years help to fund those kinds of activities in the ARC. So continue to, like I said, your membership fees help with that, and any extra donations you might want to give to the club will also help for that kind of stuff. We gave away $1,000 through the ARRL for that scholarship. So he looks like a very bright man and young man, and I think it'll be a big help to him in his schooling. So we'll continue to do that every year with your financial support. So thank you for that.
I'm a new member with the question. This is my first meeting as a dues paying member, paid up and all that stuff. Can I go ahead?
Go. Yeah.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So can we buy a club membership patch, thinking of Gordo and all those patches, or a car window decal bumper sticker? Is there a downloadable membership certificate or any of that kind of membership, cool stuff? I'm serious.
Yeah, we're working on putting that together. So we'll definitely, any of our new members here this year, we'll definitely make sure that they get that package once we've got it put together. We wanted to be able to put something in your hand with some goodies to go with it. So don't be surprised if it's a patch and a window sticker, and of course you'll get a membership certificate also. And we're working on that right now to get out to new members. So hopefully the next month here we'll have something put together that we can send to you. So you will get something. Just keep an eye on the mail, and it'll be like sort of like Steve Martin in The Jerk when he receives the telephone book and gets all excited. So
that's how it was. I got a single sideband association patch in the mail the other day, and I told my wife, I said, wow, it was like they sent me a gold brick. I was so excited.
Yeah, we've got actually two different styles of patches that we've got an older style and then of course the new logo that you see up on the screen, because I can't seem to get a video to stay put long enough. But so you might get two patches, you never know.
Yeah, and also the sign man of Baton Rouge. The sign man produces badges and hats, and he's got the ARC logo, and you can get an ARC name badge through him. Yep. Of different designs. You can get a pin back, or you can get a magnetic background. For most clubs, you can get one for ARRL. He does it for just about everybody. So that's a good way of showing club identification or club membership.
Yeah, there's a couple of designs for that too. There's an older one and a newer one. Maybe a couple of newer ones.
Let me, I guess, just quick. Jim Reed posted on chat. This is amazing. that we have 500 members on our Facebook group. 500. So there are 500 people interested enough on Facebook to be keeping track of us, but you know, it's a small percentage of the people who are actually involved, I guess. If we can get, you know, 1/2 of those people, that would be nice. Oh, if we have the dinner, yeah, we're going to tell everybody to stay one wavelength apart at 2 meters.
There you go. Yep. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for our December meeting. That information will come here soon. So I think that's all I have for the evening. I do want to thank all of y'all for attending, and I want to thank Rob. Like I said, once again, it's really nice to have a quality meeting when you have a quality program to go with it. So it's a lot of work. So my hat's off to Rob. Sometimes that's probably one of the harder positions in the club to do is the program chair. So round of applause to Rob, of course. So thank you very much, Rob.
It's easy.
And any ideas y'all have for club meetings, or if y'all are interested in something in particular in a program you'd like to see, please contact Rob, and his information can be found on the webpage, and let him know what you'd like to see as a program, and we'll work to bring it to you. There's a lot of stuff out there, so we're going to continue to try to bring these high quality programs to you every month if possible. So let us know what you want, and that's what we'll work on as officers of the club. Any other questions for us? Anything for tonight?
Any word from Tom Crowley on the newsletter?
No, I got to get with him. He had said he'll get one started once he gets enough stuff. So I'm going to get up and kind of push him a little to kind of get one going. I've put a call out to several people to help with articles. So if you have an interest in writing an article or something, it can be about. Used to be when the newsletter was really busy, we had a lot of people writing about different facets of the hobby they were interested in, and they would just get and start writing stuff, and we came up with some really good content for the newsletter. So help Tom out with that too if you have an interest in something that's even remotely related to radio. We had that over the years and it worked out really good. So, and you know, put it together as best you can. We'll clean it up and make it clean from a print point, so we don't have to necessarily, you know everything about writing an article. So we'll make it look perfect.
If you ever wanted to be a journalist, now's your chance.
That's right. All right. Well, thanks for being with us tonight, and stay tuned to the website. We also have a Discord group going now, and of course we have the IO group on that you can get information from. So there's several different ways to stay in tune with the club, and then of course Sunday night is our regular net at 8 o'clock. So there's different places for you to get information about things going on with the club. So just join one of those things, and I'm sure you won't miss out. So if nothing else, we'll sign off, and everybody have a wonderful rest of your Thursday evening.
What's the Discord group?
It's like what's the best? It's probably one of the old Yahoo type chat rooms or something, but you can see it'll pop up on your phone or something, or on your desktop, and it kind of keeps you. It's a little more up to date. You don't have to go look at an email or something like that. It's more of a chat. It's more of a chat room, I guess, but it's a good way to you can chat with people during the day and not have to worry about emails and other things. So it's a good way to, it pops up on my phone whenever I'm during the day when things are posted in there. So it's kind of an online chat room.
Yeah, it's like the written version of being on the air. You know,
Yeah.
you type something and whoever else is on there on Discord at the same time sees your message, and they'll respond, and other people, you know, and you get cross conversations going on. But it's like, yeah, it's like being on the air.
Yeah, good. It's a good way to share information in a
Is
quick.
all that stuff on the website? Is all that stuff where some new person could see it on the ARC website?
Somewhere.
The Discord, I don't think's up there yet because it's fairly new. I believe the IO group information might be. Well, we're still having to kind of go through some of these things and figure out where we're short on things and get them uploaded. So that's a good question. Unfortunately, we don't have the answer at the moment, but some of it's probably there, but the Discord I know is not. So we'll get that uploaded on the website so there's a link for you to go in that way. So if it's not there now, it will be shortly.
Great.
All righty, guys. Well, y'all have a wonderful evening and thanks for coming tonight. And congratulations, Scott. I'll send the gift certificate in the mail to you here. All right. Y'all have a good evening.
Good night.
73, everybody.
73.